What's up, fellow polymaths? In this video of the Java Fundamentals tutorial, we'll be going over the file input and output. In Java, the java.io package contains what you'll need to perform input and output actions. Java uses the concept of a string to make the input and output operation fast. All these file streams represent an input source and an output destination. Within the java.io package, Java has many methods for creating, reading, update, and deleting files. A stream can be defined as a sequence of data. There are two types of streams: input streams, which are used to read data from a source, and output streams, used to write data to a destination. In the simple flow of the stream, go from the source, which is the input, then it goes to the input stream, which reads the data, then it goes to the Java program, which then goes to the output stream, which writes to the data, and then after that, it sends the data to the destination. So it's pretty simple to create a file object. All you have to do is just import the java.io.file class, and then using the file class, just create an object, and then wherever you want to create a text file, all you have to do is just put in the text file name in the parameters of the new file constructor. Keep in mind that if you don't explicitly put the directory that you want to save your file name, it's going to save the file where your project folder is located. So there's different types of file methods. There's the can read, which tests whether the file is readable, can write, which tests the file if the file is writable, creating a new file, deleting a new file, checking if a new file exists, returning the name of the file, returning the absolute path of the file, which is basically where the file location is, returning the size of the file, returning the number of files in a directory, creating a directory, and so on. And there's many more methods besides what's listed here. So here's a diagram of the file stream. We have our object as the hierarchy, and then from the object, we have our input streams and our output streams. And the input streams and the output stream contain various subclasses. For input stream, it contains the file input stream, the byte array input stream, the filter input stream, and the object input stream. And for the output stream, it more or less contains the same, except replace the input with the output. Each class serves a specific purpose, but generally they do the same thing. For the input streams, they receive inputs, and for the output streams, they create the file and send that data to the destination. So just a couple more slides before we go into the code. For directories, a directory is a folder that contains a list of other files and directories. The make directory method creates a directory returning true when it's successful and false when the directory is not able to be created. The make directories with an S method creates both a directory and all the parents of the directory. Java automatically takes care of the path separators on Windows and Unix-based systems. So for example, if you're using a / on Windows, then the path will still resolve correctly, and vice versa with the Unix-based system. Pretty handy. So there are different ways to create a file. One way is to use the create new file method. The create new file method is enclosed in the try catch block, and this is required since it throws an IO exception if an error occurs. So in this case, if the file cannot be created. When you're done writing to a file, you should close the file with the close method. This procedure helps free up resources from the JVM. And if you remember from a few tutorials ago, I mentioned about how try-catch is often used with creating files when you want to close the resources that are being used for those files. So this is one example. There are many available classes that can be used to read and write files in Java, such as file reader, buffered reader, files, scanner, file input stream, file writer, and so on. The one you use depends on what Java version you're using, whether you need to read in bytes or characters, the size of the file, as well as personal preference. So now that we have a pretty good understanding of file input and output, let's go to the code and try it out. All right, so here we're in the code right now, and the first thing we're going to do is create a file. So first, all we have to do is utilize the file class and create an object from the file class. All right, so I've created the file object. So now we're going to use the file writer to write to this file object. All right, so I created the file writer object, and this is going to write to the file, and we write a simple message. So let's run the program and see what our result is. All right, so we see here we've been able to create our file, and we see that it was just recently created. So let's open the file and see what it contains. All right, so here's the file, and we see here the text that we have. This text file matches up with what we input into the write method. So we were able to create a file right there. So let's see if we can get the contents from this file into the code editor console. All right, so I created a read file object using the scanner class. So let's run the code right now and I'll explain what's happening. All right, so we have our output, the same as the text file. So basically what's happening is that we already have the file example of that text that we created earlier with the file writer class. And then what's happening here is that we have a scanner class that we create a read file object, and we pass in the file object from the file class into the new scanner constructor. Using the while loop, we check the read file object from the scanner class if it has the next line. So basically that text file that we had, if it has a next line, then we want to assign this file data string variable to that next line and then output that file data. And this was our output right here. And then after that, it'll check if any other lines left in the file. And if they're not, then after it'll exit the while loop. And then after that, we close the read file scanner object to free up resources. So that's pretty much how to create files. There's plenty more involving files, such as deleting files, making directories. So play with some on your own, and you'll be able to really get into a groove of things. All right, here's our assignment for this topic. Number 1, what is the package that is used to create, read, update, and delete files? Number 2, what are the 2 types of streams and what is their main purpose? Number 3, what specific type of exception is thrown when there is an error using a file or a file stream object? Number 4, create a program that writes to a file with the text, "Hello Universe." Number 5, create a program that reads from the above file and outputs the text onto the console. If this video was of any value to you, then please leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.